Unorthodox has been an international hit for Netflix. I am Riley Chow of Gold Derby, here with actor Amit Rahav, who plays Yankee Shapiro. Now, he's not the hero of the miniseries, and he's actually very much in the way of his wife Esty, who is the hero. So why do you think audiences have responded to him so well?
I think that they responded to him so well because, you know, Yankee can easily be the, as you said, like the bad guy and the suffocating husband who doesn't allow his wife to grow in her own way. But then after him, like leading to his journey, his forced journey, he understands that that life is not based on one truth. And he suddenly finds himself and he becomes very vulnerable. And I think that the vulnerability got people to understand his triggers and why did he react and behave like he did.
What do you think the consequences will be of him chopping off the hair out of the corners of his head at the end of the miniseries?
Good question. Good question. I think that I can't tell you exactly what will happen with him, but I can assume that he won't be the same Yankee that he was before. Beforehand he was very controlled by his mother, his parents, the community, and all the circumstances that are surrounding him. But then towards the end of the show, he becomes a new Yankee, and I can assure he won't treat anyone the same, and not himself. So I'm sure he will be he will have much more compassion and maybe patience, and he won't be as strict, I guess.
I saw a video recently of you, getting the extensions applied while in the makeup chair. Did you consider trying to grow your own hair out a bit to help the extensions along?
Actually, no. I didn't consider that because our hair and makeup artist, Jens, he wanted me to have my hair shaved for the character, like realistics, and he used to glue it every morning. It took like maybe 20 minutes or half an hour, and it was so painful to take them out. So I didn't consider growing them, but it's suddenly I get like lots of reactions about how it is stylish. People think it's stylish, and which is very cool. I think it's very cool that people suddenly look at it as a stylish thing and not a religious thing. But yeah, maybe it will become a fashion like trend, and I will consider it.
Do you find that anybody is recognizing you after appearing in this miniseries, but looking so different from how you look now?
It's a funny thing because I don't get recognized often. I had this photo shoot like the other day, and there was a makeup artist on set, and she said, "Hey, yeah, I heard you are an actor. Where did you act?" And I told her I acted in Unorthodox, and she was like, "Oh my God, I loved it. Who did you act? Who did you play there?" So I get this quite a lot, and I must say that it is nice. It is I enjoy it.
And how do you feel about having a Wikipedia page now?
I did not know I've got one, but it's good to know. I will make sure to look at it once we're finished. I did not know.
And how did you get cast in the show?
Yeah, so it's a cool story. I was a student back in acting school in Tel Aviv, and I got this audition. We got only one scene, and it was the first date scene before we get into the arranged marriage. It's the scene from the first episode. And it was I was told that I should learn Yiddish for the audition. And as a matter of fact, I in the first time I got the call to the audition, I was so stressed in school that I said maybe we should skip it because I don't have a lot of time to practice and learn Yiddish now for like a five-page scene, like a whole dialogue in Yiddish. It's a language I've never spoke before. And then we did manage to schedule a date a bit later, like a few weeks later, and I did learn Yiddish. And then I got to know that I'm doing it with Shira. And Shira and I are friends. We've known each other for the last 10 years, and it was so relieving to know that because, you know, Shira is such a great actress, and she's such a good friend of mine. And the night before the audition, we spoke on the phone, and we did like our lines together in Yiddish, and it felt like suddenly very special because we suddenly did. We ended the scene and we were shocked that did we just communicate in Yiddish for the first time in our life, and it was just like a fascinating moment that we made it only one scene. We did not know that like a month later we'd have to learn 80 pages in Yiddish, but we were so happy to learn those 5 pages. And then the audition felt so good. The dynamic and the chemistry with Shira felt right, and yeah, the moment I got the phone call, I was super excited.
And what did you learn from making this show?
So many things. You know, I've learned that I can speak only from my personal point of view, but I've learned that we mustn't be judgmental towards like anyone. You never know what's going on inside a person's like life, and you never know what is someone dealing with. And I feel like we get to know this like when we watch the show. You know, Yankee and Esti, they go through kind of the same story of like finding their own voice, and I feel like once they like found, like they were both in a way forced to go through this journey and explore the world outside, but you know, it's a hard and a challenging journey. But then once you get to know yourself and you find your own truth, I think it's a very empowering moment and like a knowledge that you know who you are.
Now, this show is adapted from, or at least inspired by, the memoir by Deborah Feldman. So I'm wondering if you read that book, and also if you took anything from what she wrote about her real-life husband.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Of course, I read the book and I loved it. I couldn't stop reading it. It's Deborah Feldman wrote such an amazing autobiography, and I was fascinated by it. I must say that as you said, the character is inspired by her husband, so only the flashbacks that we see in the show are kind of accurate. But then the rest of Yankee is written by our writers, Alexa Karolinsky and Anna Wenger, and they actually created Yankee for the show. But yeah, in the book he comes across as a harsh husband, and I had to, you know, my challenge was to understand what makes him so harsh and why is he acting that way. So I did take some stuff, and it was very interesting for me to read about like the normal daily life of the Hasidic community in Brooklyn, because she she goes into details there which are just so mind-blowing. But then as for the husband, my challenge was, like I said, to develop the like Deborah's point of view, and to bring alive Yankee.
I understand that you actually filmed your last days of filming were in Brooklyn, whereas most of it was filmed in Berlin. What did you take from visiting or being near the communities that you were actually depicting?
Oh, it was such an amazing experience. It felt so holy to be there. It was quite shocking in the beginning because until then we filmed it all in Berlin, and all the interiors were copied from the like the New York scenery. So when we were there, it was suddenly like the real deal. It all seemed so natural on the one hand, because all the extras and all the actors looked exactly the same, like what I saw outside my window. But I think it was. I felt like we should be very respectful, and we kept very quiet when we filmed there, because we didn't want to harm anyone's feelings when we were there. What I can say is that we tried to fit in, and there was this one time where our trimals, our hats, our like fairy hats, were fake. They were vegan, and there was this that we saw like a couple walking towards us from the Hasidic community, and I knew it was fake, and I knew that probably they will notice that I'm not from their community, and they will probably like mention something or like approach me, and I was trying to hide myself, and to like I closed my eyes. I tried to pretend that like I'm a normal person. We've probably seen each other a million times because I lived here. But then they were like, nice try, Mo. And it made me laugh. They were really nice. They were really cool. Yeah.
Did you have a lot of experience with these communities before the show? Like, do you have any personal background that related to the character?
We live in Israel, so we see the Hasidic community all over the country. When we travel the country, we see them. And I've had a bar mitzvah, but I'm very secular myself. So other than the bar mitzvah, which was the closest to the religion, I don't have a lot of religious stories to share. But whenever you go to Jerusalem, so you see the Hasidic community, and it's like what's beautiful about Israel, that so many like people and kinds of communities live together. So it wasn't so rare and like new to me, the settings and the costumes, but it was like very it was new to me, like to portray a Hasidic guy.
Now, I understand that you're still in acting school, so I wanted to ask how that's going.
It was going nice, like up until the coronavirus came into our lives. So it was nice, and yeah, I felt that I came back from shooting, and I felt that I can study more, and we can always study more and more and more and more. And I wanted to like enlarge my experience on stage, and to like learn more and achieve more like stage time and knowledge. And so until the coronavirus, it was really nice. But since then, I'm at home, and it's all through Zoom. So it's not that stressful, but it's I'm still learning. Yeah.
And finally, do you have a favorite memory from the show?
Ooh, good question. Good question. I've got so many memories because, you know, Shira and Jeff and all the cast and the creators, we really became a family. I can say that the wedding scene was just amazing to me. It was so special. We were in Berlin, and there were, I think, like 100 extras there walking in those religious outfits. And it was just, for me, it was so big. So I was so excited that day. I felt I was actually getting married, like at that point on that stage, and like breaking the glass. It's something that it's so known. It's like a real, it's a really symbolic thing, like the chuppah and the rabbi and the you know, the wedding dress and the bride and the groom, and it was all like very iconic. And so those 2 days where we filmed the wedding scenes were just something I'll never forget.
All right, Amit. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to chat. I talked to Shira Haas a couple of days ago, so you can check out that video on our YouTube channel if you're watching this one. And you can also go to goldderby.com to make your Emmy predictions.